I had the radical idea of going out and asking people, what do you think people say when I ask them, why aren't you spending more money? What do you think people say?
He's also a fucking genius, because what he does is he keeps asking these guys questions and they don't have the answers. He asks the American at one stage what his national debt is, and he doesn't know. So you get the idea that these talking heads do this and they have a narrative and they follow it. But this guy, it's like, I guess it's like reviewing a movie. Someone can tell you all the things that they've seen in a movie, but they didn't make the movie. You know, it's the people who made the movie really know what's going on. He really knows what's going on. These talking heads, they have their headline, they have their narrative, but they go no deeper. And so 2 or 3 times he asks Morgan, and this is the whole conversation that you can get on Patreon right now, or you can just get off YouTube. And they don't have the answer to simple questions. And it's terrifying that these are then the people who are some of the biggest voices in the world talking about things like the economy, and they don't know.
They're not spending more money because they probably don't have more money.
Yeah. And when I looked at their financial situations, what I saw, this is in early 2010s, I was in my mid-20s, I saw a generation of people, my parents' generation, who owned property, and another generation of people, their kids, my generation, who will never own property. The middle class are losing their homes, the middle class are losing their wealth. Where is that wealth going? Where is that wealth
And your
going?
argument is it's going just to the super rich.
Where else?
So they're getting... So Dave, I mean...
Well, I think it's important to make a distinction.
So that's the end of his first point. I'm going to give you 60 seconds of Dave Rubin, and I apologize in advance for making this word salad bullshit in your ears having to come. But I need you to show the man who made the movie, i.e. the man who knows how it all works, and the talking head and all that repetitive pablum narrative that you hear from these people who don't know what's going on. Dave Rubin is a moron. He does not know what's going on.
That first off, what's happening in your country and our country are not exactly the same, but largely over the last decade, until the last month where we now have Donald Trump, both of our countries have been going in the direction of more big government, more regulation, more of the middle management nonsense that Elon Musk is uncovering every day. So I would be for removing as much of that as possible, removing as much of the waste. I mean, we are now seeing with USAID and everything else that Elon is uncovering with Doge that the...
You know, I heard James Carville talking over the weekend about USAID, and he went something like, he basically says, look, if I grant you all of that money from USAID was corrupt, let's just say it was all of it, which obviously is ridiculous, but all of it was 46 billion. The economy is $6 trillion. It's something like 0.14%. So it's like, that's when you get to this idea of what big numbers can sound like. USAID, some of it was overspent, some of it was misspent, whatever. If it was all like 0.01% of the economy or some ridiculously low number, and these guys' narrative is now we say that word as much as we can, make a big number, people get scared, they think we know what we're talking about, but they don't.
Amount of waste and absolute fraud, and I would say criminal negligence in the system is a huge root of it. So I agree.
Shocking, yeah.
So again, I agree with some of the symptoms.
It's not shocking, Piers, it's bullshit.
You're talking about for sure. The question is the diagnosis. So how do you then say to the person that can't afford the house, how do you afford a house? Well, one way you might want to do it is I would, if I was in charge of your country or mine, I would lower taxes for everybody. I would do a flat tax for everybody. Make sure, so whether you're a billionaire or whether you make $100,000 or 75 grand, whatever it might be, you're going to pay whatever the number is. We can all agree on the number. Let's say it's 10%.
Just look at Gary.
The billionaire.
Look at how Gary is listening to him. It's just like, he can just, I mean.
That's just so busted. So
is still paying way more in taxes. But this type of class warfare that we've been caught up in, where the common phrase always is, well, they have to pay their fair share. Well, who decides what the fair share is? And guess what? Someone will always want more of your money.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the end of clip number 1. Chewie, I've got more. I've got lots of it as well. But how about you jump in and share your thoughts about what's being said as we go along? Thoughts, sir?
Yeah. So you were talking about USAID. What was their budget again?
I think it was 46 billion, I think.
46 billion. Okay. I don't know why that sprung to mind. The US is currently building a new fleet of aircraft carriers at $13 billion a piece. The whole program. Yeah, whole program, $40 billion. You buy, I think, 10 or 12 aircraft carriers. again, it's about priorities. Like, America has more people sleeping under bridges on the side of railway lines and motorways than I have ever seen in my life. There is next to zero safety net. And it really comes to the fore when you're talking about the American experience, is that most people are maybe a month or two away from living in the street. They're not a month or two away from having dinner with Elon Musk. So stop being a bootlicker for a billionaire who's fiddling while their whole republic burns. And everywhere in the Western world, we've got a bootlicker here. We've got that Mowbray prick that seems to think that feeding kids is a waste of time and is happy to donate an enormous amount of money to ACT to make sure that children are hungry at schools. He's our little Elon Musk bootlicker. He'd probably love that analogy. Fuck.
The only thing I would
so angry.
I'll just disagree with one thing. You said a billionaire is fiddling basically while Rome burns. The only thing I would say is you left the S off. Billionaires. Look at his cabinet.
Oh, they're all in on it. And the fact that there are working poor, unemployed, undereducated people cheering these billionaires, supposed billionaires, pretend millionaires, business people. They're cheering for them because they think that they're going to help you. Where the fuck is that coming from? Like, it makes no sense. And what Rubin's saying here is the thing that's going to fix all of this is a flat tax. I think that comes out of Sim City. That was something that you could do in Sim City to boost production. It's not something that has ever worked in modern economics. The glory days of USA building their freeway system, going to the fucking moon, completely reaching just levels of luxury in the middle class that have never, ever been equaled on this planet, was in the 50s and 60s when they were taxing the wealthiest people at more than 80%. They were able to do all of that, and somehow there's some sort of collective gas leak in that country that goes, no, that wasn't what made things great.